All right, hey, welcome back to Coach's Call with Dustin Holly. We're live from the Imprints One studio, and we are back for our third quarter. And our third quarter is brought to you by Caitlin Barker with Hershey Realtors. Interest rates are historically low, and home values are increasing dramatically. If you've been on the fence about buying or selling real estate, there's no better time than right now. Visit CaitlinBarker.com to request your no-obligation free market analysis to find out what the true value of your home is today. That's CaitlinBarker.com, spelled Caitlin. Barker.com. We appreciate Caitlin sponsoring the show and doing her thing, so make sure you visit it. And today we have probably what I have found in the past 6 weeks, the hardest working man in sports, and he really is. We have Cory Hogue. He's the creator and writer of LoneStarSportsDaily.com and a contributor to Dave Campbell's Football. Cory, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dustin. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be able to come on here with you.
Man, I do appreciate it. I have found you. I have found a couple things during this the quarantine stay-at-home thing. KSCY 1230 with Chuck Ramsey, his show, and then I found you with LoneStarSportsDaily.com and really your Twitter at Cory Hogue Sports. You're all over the place. Tell me about it a little bit.
Well, it's a focus on smaller colleges. You will find a little bit on the big colleges, but everybody covers those. So my focus, and I grew up a small college guy in Wichita Falls around Midwestern State. So I've always followed the small guys. So you'll get the FCS football coverage you may not find other places from the Southland and from the SWAC, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You will get the WAC and the Southland and some of those other ones when it comes to basketball season. And then you get the Lone Star Conference, which now that it's all one giant conference, that makes it a little bit easier. And then you get the D3 coverage, the American Southwest Conference, the SCAC, and in football, you've got the SAA. So you will find a whole lot of that mixed into that website. And it's just a place to kind of gather the information because there's a lot of fans of these small colleges. They just don't quite get the recognition that a lot of the big schools do, and I think they deserve it myself.
Yeah, no, I went to Hardin-Simmons for 2 years, played soccer there, then transferred back into Midwestern, kind of started coaching there. So I'm always looking, McMurray, all the American Southwest Conference stuff, the teams I used to play, and then obviously the Lone Star. So it's been awesome to find a place where I'm not going to their 6-7 websites looking for information. I just refresh your Twitter, and I got the rundown of the day. Tell me how you kind of got started with this, a little bit about your story. Tell me how we got to Lone Star Sports Daily.
Well, I was in the Army for about 11 and a half years. I was a combat medic, deployed 3 times, twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. And once my body gave out, so I got medically discharged out of there. I initially went into pharmacy, but I didn't really like pharmacy. It wasn't really for me. And so I became friends with some guys at Dave Campbell's, Greg Tepper, the managing editor, and Max Thompson at the time was the digital guy. And I met them at the state high school football championships a few years ago, just as friends. And they come and spend about a half with me. I mean, they're incredible people. And the whole group, I found it since then, has been incredible. And then a couple years ago, Max was trying to figure out a way to integrate in scores with the Fox Sports app onto the Dave Campbell's website. But until they could get all that figured out, they were doing it. They were manually inputting everything.
Yeah.
So I told Max, I said, dude, if you need help, I'm here for you. So he was great. And he gave me a call. And in that call, for some reason, I don't even really know why, I say, you guys don't cover small colleges at all. And there's 35 of them all the way down to JUCO, and they get no coverage on your site. I was wondering if you'd be interested in me doing something for you. And he told me to write something up and get it to him. And if they liked it, that they would get me going.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. I wrote something up. I did a 5. It's actually, they call it my opus. It's kind of like Matt Stepp does a lot of this stuff too. It's about 5,000 words recap of every college, lower college from FCS all the way to JUCO. Every one of their games each week. And I put that in. They loved it. They signed me on it, and it just exploded. It led from there to covering games. And then I had a website. It was kind of – it wasn't really – the name of it was Hoagie Sports, and nobody could spell Hoagie. and,
Yeah,
and I was,
apparently I messed up in my email this morning, so I don't know where I went wrong, but yeah. So,
so I wanted to make something easier, and I wanted to make something where I could do the, my have the website name and then have the Facebook also, because it's on the Facebook. It's the same Lone Star Sports Daily on Facebook, and then you can get everything on there also, as well as my Twitter. And so finding that could be a little bit difficult at times. And Max was a huge help with that. And of course, he moved on. He was with the Dallas Renegades at the XFL,
yeah,
and it just, it's just exploded. I mean, I've been able to cover some Major League Baseball. I've done some freelancing with the Times Record News, and Jonathan Hull is just awesome. And being able to cover and get to know these SIDs, and they're also helpful. These small colleges are so much fun, and the coaches are incredible people.
yeah.
It's been truly my honor to do this.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I love that. I mean, every town I've been in has kind of had, even Texarkana. Before I left, the Texarkana A&M was getting their sports going. No, Texarkana lost their sport. Texarkana College had lost their baseball kind of right after I got there. But I love, especially in being here, Hardin Simmons, Abilene, the Midwestern, Wichita Falls. I love the small college feel. I love going to all the. I am at all the games. I never get to meet a whole lot of the coaches. I'm going to try now just because doing this show and all this, it's been fun to just talk to people in the profession, and everybody's so friendly. So maybe I will say hello to a coach when I pass them, and I'm a nervous guy anyhow sometimes, but I love these small colleges and doing all that. Tell me kind of about your daily routine when you get up. I mean, all this news is breaking. How are we putting stuff to the website? How are we gathering everything?
Well, notifications from Twitter is an amazing thing. And so I get up each morning. I've got a 4-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter. So I've got quite an age range in there. I get my 4-year-old up. I get him off to, thankfully, they're back in summer school right now at the
Yeah.
preschool. And I'm very thankful for that, because a 4-year-old with a lot of energy, that's incredible sometimes. But I get him off, and then I come home. I've actually been exercising lately. I decided during this quarantine to make some of those changes. So I'll exercise for a little bit. Around 10:30 or 11, I start catching up to the notifications and seeing stuff that I find interesting and posting it onto the website. And sometimes there's things I get to write. Sometimes the news is awesome. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks was been a little bit hard, but um, with the passing of Noelle, that one affected me personally. And
Yeah.
I was so close to her, and I wrote that kind of a tribute to her on my website. And as a writer, that's how I get my emotions out.
Yeah.
That's really where that's how I dealt with it. Honestly, is I wrote that tribute to her, that thank you, and how she was. And that's how I dealt with that. And, being able to go to her memorial service, that was excellent. And that was a beautiful service. So that's what my day consists of most of the time. I go pick up my son in the afternoon, and my phone and iPad, they don't stop very often sometimes.
Yeah.
But but during the quarantine, I would say probably around 7 or 8 o'clock at night, it really starts to kind of slow down. And sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'll hold something to the next morning. Like Major League Baseball or something, not necessarily, huge. But if it's breaking news happens.
Yeah. No, the Coach Johnson thing, it's kind of, when I was talking about talking to coaches and all that, I was telling, when I was talking with Kobe Styles yesterday, I have season tickets Midwestern basketball, so I've been probably 200 women's games in the past few years. Loved and respected her teams. And then I would always come across her, or she might be at Parkway Grill, or I might see her out. And I was always wanting to say hello. Oh, hey, just love watching your team. And I never did. And Kobe's like, man, she was awesome. If you would have said hello, y'all would have talked for an hour. He said, you being a coach and her doing that. And so that is one of my just regrets in the whole thing, is I never just said hello. And I hear all these awesome stories, and I'm sure you have a ton of them.
Probably my favorite thing about her is she cared more about me than anything else at that time when I would talk to her. I remember back in June, I went in to do to get some quotes for a story for the Times Record News. and she was out. That woman, her energy, even during the last year or so, was incredible. It was amazing what she was able to do. And she was out teaching a class. I think it was a bowling class or something. So I caught her when she came back in. First thing she did was give me a hug and ask me how I was doing. And we sat down in there, and I'm sitting there, and I get my quotes and that kind of stuff. And then when I turn off the recorder, she says, "So tell me how you are and what's going on." And that's just how she was.
Yeah.
She was just such an awesome person. And when when I'd interview her after games, she would tell me, she'd ask how I'm doing, and she would ask how my wife is, and she would, my wife baked some food for the team during the holidays last year. She kept hounding me to email her the wife's address and stuff. She always thought of that stuff, and it could have been a win, a loss. There's so many more things going through her mind that are way more important than me or my family, and that's what she always thought of. That's just the person she was.
Yeah. So no, it's I hate it for Midwestern. I just hate it. I mean, it's been a tough year. And so I lost my mom to cancer, so you're kind of watching that, and it's you just hate it. It's a hard deal.
It is tough, but I think with the announcement this week of Christopher Ray, Coach Ray taking over, I'm very happy for him. An MSU alum, a guy that's been there for a long time, a really good guy, stepping in there, taking over the head role. I mean, I'm excited for the future of MSU women's basketball. I know it's in good hands. The situation's tough, but I mean, it's about as easy a transition as it could be right now.
Yeah. So I'm hoping everything gets back to normal. I'm excited for, really, I want to get to football first, but I'm excited to be in that dome. Christmas time at Midwestern, everybody that comes to town to visit me, I always take them to Midwestern, even pop them into a game around Christmas time. It is, I love how that place looks around the holidays. They do such a good job. But looking, I know we haven't been out much, but I was kind of following you a couple of weeks ago, or it may have been last week. Days are running together, but you got to cover a race where you meet Tony Stewart and all that, kind of for Times Record News. Tell me about the race, kind of what it was, and about the time you had out there.
Well, Tony Stewart has an all-star sprint series, and it's a 410. I think they call it the 410S, or different type of sprint cars, and they have like 900 horsepower. They're incredible, powerful cars. And he was bringing his series. They were kind of going through a rolling through the plains tour on their way to Knoxville for some nationals and some other things that were going on this week. Unfortunately, we just missed Kyle Larson and Casey Kane. They were racing with the series, but the day before was their final day with the series before they went up and went ahead to Knoxville. But we did get to see Tony was there. He had a little engine trouble, but he had right off the bat, his qualifying lap, he had engine trouble. I had to go put a new engine in. Dominic Scelzi was there, who his dad is a legendary NHRA drag racer, Gary Scelzi. And Dominic's 19 years old, and he is just an incredible driver, along with his brother, Giovanni. Gio is just awesome. Dominic was here. And Sam Hafertepe Jr., who has won the Lucas Oil Sprint Car Series 4 straight years, the points title. So, I mean, just incredible talent was there. And they put on a heck of a show. It was a really good show. We had 21 total cars. And to be able to interview these guys, and they're so awesome. I mean, just amazing people. And they're really good, obviously, with the media, which makes the job a lot easier. Makes it easier to type out the quotes.
It was like you're almost live casting the thing. I mean, I was kind of following it and all that. How long ago was that? Because I want to say it was a couple of weeks, but it may have been a month. The days are running together.
That was the 12th.
Okay, so not too far ago. Okay, all right.
Not too long ago. And the other great thing about that is my boy is such a race car fan. In fact, I've got race cars under my feet, under my desk here right now, because he loves to just play. He's got a ton of race cars. And so he loved that night. He was there. He had so much fun with that. And it was a great crowd. And it was good for the racetrack. I mean, here we are in these times. And Tony mentioned it, and I put it in the column. We don't think about this, but during this quarantine and this pandemic stuff, the drivers aren't making money if they're not racing, and they don't have other jobs. And the tracks aren't making money if they're not holding races. And so for the track, Wichita Falls, the first time they've ever hosted these, to get something like that, to have a good crowd, that really does do a lot for the economy around here to keep that racetrack going, because I don't live far from the racetrack. I love hearing it go, and I love watching dirt track racing. And I grew up that way. I grew up a IndyCar guy. My dad worked with someone who was a fuel man in IndyCar for a little while, and so I grew up an IndyCar guy, and I transitioned lately to F1 cars. But now, I knew NASCAR. Obviously, I followed a little bit, but here the last couple of weeks with everything going on, and since they started racing again, the only live sports, I'm back into NASCAR 100%. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I love going. Me and my dad, we'll sneak out there to that racetrack a couple times a summer. I love getting out there, and we'll stay the whole time. And it's a busy night. I mean, it's a long night. It's a fun night, and I really enjoy getting out there. I forget how loud it is to get out there, and then by the end of the night, you're wishing I would have taken something with me. So, but my son's been out there once or twice, and he's enjoyed it too. I guess breaking news last night, we have baseball back. I think, I hope. I know we've been down these steps for the past few weeks. 60-game season. Tell me, you probably know a little bit more about it than I do. Are they going to play in their home ballparks?
It sounds like they are, and I saw something last night from one of the Houston Astros beat writers that said they're going to limit attendance initially, around the players especially. I'm not sure about fans attending yet. That's up to the governors more. But as far as baseball goes, obviously the players and that kind of staff, they have access to the clubhouse. Some of the support staff and equipment guys, they will have access to the clubhouse. And then when it comes to camera crews and media and all this, they're capping it at 150 total people, which sounds like a lot. But when you go to one of these, that's not a lot of people. A lot of cameras. There's a lot of media. I mean, that's not a ton. So I'm hoping I can get a credential to even go see a game at the new park this year. It would be awesome to do that, but I understand if I don't also. I'm not on the Rangers media list by any means. But what they did say was the media has no access into the clubhouse this year. So that's going to be a huge change, and it's going to be – I'm not even sure how the interview room will work, if they would have post-game interviews. And a lot of times they bring, Chris Woodward or managers down there, and not sure how that's going to work this year. It's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you who I feel bad for right now with them just announcing this last night, and they're wanting to get the regular season started in approximately 1 month. The communications people for these baseball teams. Yeah. Oh my goodness. They've got to get all this stuff figured out. And they got a month before they're opening at home, and they got training going on in Arizona. Yeah. This is not a fun time for those guys.
Now I guess I saw everybody's playing kind of their division games because they're close. That's kind of weird for the Rangers, isn't it? I mean, are they still going to play? Are they going to change? Have you seen if they're going to change that up at all, or are we still going out west?
Well, I'm waiting on the actual schedule to come out. I mean, we won't know till. Yeah. But it sounds more like they're going to go division, and somebody gets the short stick. Somebody's going to draw, and it's going to be Texas and Houston. Anything in the state of Texas is going to get that short stick because they like to send us to the west. So there's going to be a lot of late night games in California and Seattle in that area, and we'll see what they do. I have a feeling when that schedule comes out, the Rangers are going to cry, but you got to play the game.
Yeah, I've always loved. I'm a huge Cubs fan. Never really been a Rangers guy, but I've come along. All my buddies love them, so I've kind of come along. And if they're on, we'll watch them. I love the Rangers West Coast games. I love because I can watch my Cubs at 7. Then I have something to kind of wind down and fall asleep. I love the 9 o'clock. I know people hate them, but it's my house. We're up late, so I love those 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock games are perfect for me. So if we get some late night Ranger baseball, I'm fine with that.
Well, you are one of the few working people. I call you guys working people because I don't consider myself a working people because this is what I do. So if I'm up at midnight, oh, well, whatever, right? I'm up till midnight a lot of times anyway throughout not only baseball season, football season, it's late nights. So I'm looking forward to it also because it'll give me something to watch besides trying to find a random TV show or the news or something that I don't want to see anymore and be able to kind of get away and watch some baseball. And, it's going to be great to have it back again. I know that they've hurt themselves a lot of ways with this little fight between the owners and players again, and they're probably going to hurt themselves more because baseball has a way of doing that when it comes to the labor issues coming up in another year or so, and they try to renegotiate a deal. But for right now, just thankful to have some baseball back.
Yeah. Do you think that this bubble thing with the NBA, it seems I try not to watch the news. I mean, I just haven't in a while. I just try to do my own thing over here. But the bubble thing, I go back and forth. I think it's going to work, and then I don't think it's going to work. What are your opinions on that? I mean, some people may be gone and be happy to be gone for their families playing basketball for 2.5 months or so. What are your kind of thoughts on the bubble in Orlando?
The NBA players are used to being away from their families.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, that part isn't going to be a whole lot. And for some of the guys, they're probably been around their families more than they're used to right now. So this might be a welcome break to get away for 2.5 months. I think the most interesting thing to me, and if anybody can make it work, Adam Silver he's probably the best commissioner in all of sports. He's just an incredible guy, and he's a really good guy. He really is. And I think Adam, if anyone can make this work, he can make it work. The other thing that I found interesting is it's almost like if LeBron says okay, we're going to go play. If LeBron doesn't say okay, there will be no more NBA until the new season starts up or until LeBron gives the go-ahead. And he has that kind of power, rightfully so. Michael Jordan would have had that power years ago. So LeBron is that guy, and he's got that kind of say. And so that's what I've heard. If he gives the go-ahead, we're going to have some NBA.
Yeah, and then finally, I guess NFL. It's also one of those things. It scares me as we get into later in the year when it gets colder again. I mean, you see that. I'm hoping college and that's back. Kind of what are your opinions there? I know the SEC's on board. I just don't know who else is on board right now.
I wish I had all the answers for this right now. I think we're going to see a lot of the teams from the South and the Southeast and kind of Midwest. I think they're going to play. I think the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC, I think they're a go. Now, the California schools, Pac-12, will they play?
Yeah.
And if they don't play, will Utah, and how will that work with some of those? That's going to be the interesting part. How many fans will be allowed? Now, that's going to vary from probably state to state. I foresee football this year. I really do. I think that we've kind of entered a part in this country where everybody's kind of like, the heck with it, and we're moving forward regardless. But at the same time, if we don't take the precautions and this turns out to really, if a football game happens and half the guys end up getting sick and can't play for 2 weeks, the big colleges have enough talent. The smaller colleges that I cover, they don't have the players for this kind of stuff. So if they can find a way to make it safe and everything, I see it happening. I hope it happens. I really do. It would be a long winter because I love football season. It is busy, but I love that hustle and bustle of a football season.
Yeah. Oh, I told my buddies I had this crazy plan. They looked at me like I was crazy. I had this crazy plan, and if we don't have football, I've already found me 3 or 4 games from different years on YouTube. So in my house, week 1, I will have like a 91 Cowboys game, 88 Broncos. They were like, dude, you're crazy. And I was like, I need the football, man. That's my Sunday. School has started. That's all I do. I'm not bothered on Sunday. We started at noon and it goes all the way through Sunday night football. And that's just my day. So I have to have my Sundays after all this.
It's funny because on my Sundays, usually football's on because my wife is a huge sports fan also. Yeah. And, of course, I got a family of sports fans here. But most times Sunday, I'm footballed out by Sunday because I usually will go somewhere Friday night. I'm traveling all day Saturday somewhere typically, and I cover a game. By the time Sunday comes is when I got to do my recap. On all the other 35 teams. So a lot of times during that, it's a background noise. Sunday football is a background noise for me while they're watching it while I'm working. I just look forward to that. The other thing is a quick plug. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine is going to be hitting store shelves soon. And I wrote some previews of some teams and some conferences and stuff in there. So definitely look for that. And I hope I didn't write those in vain to be a little bit selfish about that.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys. I'm not. I look at it. I follow everything. I'm not a subscriber where I get it in my mailbox. So I'm seeing all these guys get it. I'm the one that waits till it comes out in stores. So that's always kind of been my. There it goes. Everybody. You've probably already been through it 20 times. I haven't been through it once. So
it's funny. I don't read my own stuff. Brian Troll, he texted me. He texted me yesterday asking me something about the predictions or something in there, and I sent a question mark back, and he said, "Your stuff in the magazine." I said, "Oh man, that was March. I don't remember that at all."
No, I really enjoyed. Like I said, I don't. Me just being a coach for soccer, I don't get to see Brian or MJ or a lot of those guys very much, just in passing, kind of at some games, or I'll even talk to them on Football Friday nights. But it's been fun. Obviously, I'm not Sports Center or anything here, or really even in the ballpark of what y'all do. But it's been fun to sit down and talk to people, just to have time and talk sports. And I love talking to Hull, and I've had Brian on, MJ on. I love talking with Chuck Ramsey and all that, and then following you and getting to talk to you. It's been awesome. Just hope to have you on again and all that. So it's been real cool to sit down and just talk sports while I'm in my house. So
definitely, and again, thank you so much for having me. And the thing about those guys, the common thread that runs with everybody you mentioned, they're good guys. They're good people. And that's what makes this job so much fun. It is being around those good people and getting to see them. Yeah, I haven't gotten to see them as much now as I do during a lot of the season and stuff. But I know Jonathan Hull, that guy, he's if they have a summer issue, that's about to pick up for the high school. Everybody looks forward to that. High school season coming up, there's a lot of stress with Times Record News and they're short staffed and everything there. And Zach Duncan, I mean, he's another one that still kind of helps. He's another incredible guy, another soccer guy, but just an incredible guy. And it's just that way. Same way with the Dave Campbell staff. We all love football, but so many different sports that we can all discuss, and that's what I love, because I follow soccer and I follow all these sports, and it's hard to find people that do that anymore. So it's just great to have your show. It really is. I mean, I've watched your show. I love it. Just a chance to get away, talk sports. People are looking for stuff like this. They really are right now.
Duncan's been a lot of fun just being that first-year teacher. I mean, like I said, I've known him with the paper and all that, and then now he's that first-year teacher, and he's excited. It's been fun to kind of watch him get into that and to get to know him more than what I did. I mean, we used to talk on the phone outside of school, but now he's with me. I get to see him every day and talk about sports and talk about classes and different things. So it's been fun. He kind of gives you an energy. Like I said, this is my 13th, 14th year coaching, and I still love it. But, they have those random Wednesdays where you're kind of going through it, and you catch Duncan, and he's excited. You're like, yeah, let's go to that staff meeting. I'm ready to go. Let's roll, man. Yeah. So it's been good for me, and I love getting to hang out with him and get to know him more. So
it is. Now, one thing to watch for, and I broke this yesterday, and this is a couple of them. UTPB canceled their first game against Wayland Baptist, and Texas A&M Kingsville has canceled a football game against Colorado State Pueblo. I haven't heard, nothing official has come out, but I have a feeling all the teams will, including Midwestern State.
They're going to Quincy. I think they're going up north.
To Quincy in the first game. I'm not sure. All the teams, NAIA, D2, D3, they all have to cut back on the number of games this year. So they've all got to cut at least one and sometimes two. Wayland Baptist had to cut 2 games. So we're going to see some games cut. I have a feeling the season will not start until I think it's September 12th, that weekend, for most of small colleges, which personally, I mean, tell you how much of a small college guy I am. I've attended D2 games and D3 games out the wazoo growing up. This last year when I went and covered Baylor and Stephen F. Austin was only my second Division I game to ever see. So I've always been that smaller type of atmosphere. Abilene Christian and their beautiful. It's seen these beautiful stadiums. West Texas A&M. Oh my goodness! If you get out to Canyon, West Texas A&M, that stadium, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I haven't been out that way. I mean, I love that. The Abilene Christian one is perfect, and I would love to see Midwestern. It's a perfect size for a college. Fill it up. And I would love for Midwestern to get something like that, either on campus or close to it, but it would be awesome. I don't mind the Memorial Stadium, but it's just a lot of that visitor side. It doesn't give it a college feel sometimes. And I would love for them to get something a little more homey and local, which would be awesome.
To tell you a little quick story about the Abilene Christian Stadium, and this is kind of how spoiled we get as sports writers sometimes. I was driving to cover their game. I can't remember if it was Houston Baptist or somebody last year, and on the way I get a text message from their SID with a profuse apology that at that time their elevator was out. We may have to walk the stairs to get up to the press box. and when I got there, the elevator was working, and you wouldn't believe the amount of relief I had that I didn't have to walk the stairs to get up to their press box.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I've enjoyed that one a lot, so it's pretty cool. All right, we'll wrap it up. I got Coach Holly 10-question shootout for you. I got some food, some pop culture, some sport. Right. We'll go first question I've had. What's been your favorite to-go meal during this kind of being at home?
I'm going to go with Deli Planet. I love Deli Planet. Okay. Their sandwiches are awesome.
That's out there. That's by the base, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's
okay.
right
I
there.
forget about that because it's not here on Kemp. Hadn't been on Kemp forever, but I need to get out that way. So
they have got some awesome sandwiches. They really do, and it's locally owned business. Yep. And we try to frequent there quite often. It's a fun place.
What was your first job growing up?
First job, I think it was trying to remember the name of that pizza shop. It was a locally owned pizza shop. Wasn't Pinocchio's? Was it? It was an old pizza shop here, and I worked in a call center there. And then I also had another job working over in the mall where Hibbett Sports used to be. It used to be a clothing store. Yeah. So I had both of those. I think those were my first jobs right there. They were all about the same time.
Who were kind of your favorite sports personalities you kind of follow, podcast or TV? Like I'm a big I've been kind of Russillo Simmons kind of that way, but I've kind of fallen into this Barstool, pardon my take, with Big Cat, and it's one of those things I kind of knew about him, but now I've gotten into him during the break, and I just love it's sports, but it's kind of funny. So, but I got to keep it down in the car because they don't watch their language. But who are your kind of favorite guys you follow?
You know, I'm a big fan of SVP on Sports Center.
Yes.
I love that show. He is so awesome with that show. I listen to Mina Kimes' daily podcast. She has some great conversations on the ESPN Daily. You know, Diane Russillo. A lot of those. Ryan Russillo is great. Mm-hmm. They have so many good ones. Every now and then, if I like your Barstool, that's my Levitard. Sometimes I'll watch Levitard to get some of that levity in it because they don't stick necessarily to sports. Yeah, and that's the point of the show. So if I want to hear some of that kind of other stuff, I'll watch some Levitard and get a laugh out of them sometimes. Yeah.
What's your favorite sports movie?
Oh, that's a good question. I can tell you my wife's favorite sports movie right off the top. I have to flip it every time I see that's coming on. Boy, I would have to say I think Major League. Okay. I'm a big comedy type guy, and I'm a big fan of the Major League, the first and the second one.
Yeah, good. I love every time it's on. I got to watch it. What's been your favorite event to cover? Give me our favorite game, just event that you've got to cover.
You know, I think my favorite story to do was when I got to go meet up with Chase Anderson in spring training last year for a story for the Times Record News. Yeah. Because I coached Chase when he was 9 years old in Little League in Wichita Falls.
Awesome.
And then I hadn't seen him for years and years, and now I'm standing here next to him in a major league clubhouse in spring training. And then also another quick story on this. It's the same day that Mike Trout signed his $500 million contract. And being in a major league clubhouse, and for Chase, it was like the day after his child was born. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just an incredible time. But being in that major league clubhouse and seeing the major leaguers react to the amount of money Mike Trout was making. These guys were like, oh my goodness, it was all over the TVs. It was so much fun to be there and to see that there. It was awesome. That was my favorite story, definitely. Favorite event. Anytime I go to football, small college football, I've covered Hardin-Simmons, Mary Hardin, Baylor last year. That was a last-second game. Tarleton, Midwestern State a couple years ago. You know what? My favorite event that I will never forget, Midwestern State and Texas A&M Commerce. The 2-day event that happened a couple years ago.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I was at Memorial Stadium, and thankfully I was in Wichita Falls and not Commerce. That would have been a lot longer drive. But I was there, and then the next day being at North Texas, and that's a gorgeous stadium also. That's one that I will definitely never forget. That game, that was something.
Yeah. What was your first car?
My first car was a truck that would run for about 15, 20 minutes and shut down. And that was a problem because I couldn't sneak out and go anywhere because I lived in Holiday. And so anytime I tried to sneak and go do something, the truck would break down. I couldn't even get to Lakeside before it would break down. And I'd have to wait. So I'd have to wait like an hour before it even start back up. And I got in trouble one time because somebody saw me in Lakeside because it was broke down there, and I was there playing basketball. And my parents found out I wasn't even supposed to be gone, and so that truck ended up getting me in some trouble.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, whatever. What's kind of, I mean, with being a small college guy, what's kind of your favorite conference to cover? I mean, what's the first thing you're looking at every morning? Kind of like, obviously, I mean, I'm a Lone Star guy over everything, but kind of what is, because it's so wide ranging, but what's kind of your first one you're kind of looking at?
There's really two of them, and one of them is Lone Star, and that's kind of where I've grown up around.
Yeah.
And then the American Southwest Conference. That's an incredible conference around there, and incredible people, and the commissioners of both conferences are tremendous. The media relations is tremendous. Covering the American Southwest Conference women's tournament last year at UT Dallas, that was a lot of fun. That was a shock for me because I like being incognito. I see myself as little potatoes. That's what I want to be. Yeah. And to walk in there and see some coaches go, I know you. And I'm like, well, hey, that's not how this is supposed to work, you know? But yeah, and then the Lone Star Conference, they're awesome also. And that basketball tournament in Frisco, boy, that's 4 days of a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, that I've never gotten to go to that. Like I said, I'm all about basketball, but then soccer, that's our kind of hard time of year right there too. I mean, really the MSU games, I was telling Kobe last night, those are my nights. When I get into the dome, I shut off everything. I'm not thinking soccer. I'm not thinking about practice or games. I'm just focused on some basketball. But when we get to that tournament time of year, we're right in the middle of our stuff, and I've never gotten to sneak away. But one day I will get down to a Lone Star Conference tournament or even a bigger one.
It is a good thing if you're not able to get there, though, because you're in tournaments yourself.
Yeah, that is good. Kind of favorite vacation spot you've been to or want to go to?
I'm heading to vacation here in a couple of weeks, actually, getting out to see some family in Mesa, Arizona. Okay. Not necessarily during the summertime, but if you can get there in March during spring training when they've got the baseball going on, that's a lot of fun. But the one my all-time favorite growing up is Pennsylvania. My dad is from Pennsylvania, and I go up there in the woods, and it can be humid at times, but I'll take that humidity over the 100 degrees any day of the week. And you just get out with nature, and it's just peaceful.
Yep. All right, then finally, say tomorrow if me and Zach Duncan came to you and like, Cory, we need you to help us coach, what sport would you want to coach if you had to coach a sport? One you haven't coached before. I know you've had baseball, so give me a bit. Yeah, I'm taking that away. You got one you haven't coached before.
I coached basketball once too, so I guess that one's gone also. If I had to pick a sport, I'd like to do football. But I'd want to be a position coach because I think teaching a position is much easier than being a coordinator. I do not envy those guys those coordinators, that's tough to get everybody going. Position guy, focus in on that one. That's probably the area I would be best at, and kind of micro in on one area. And by the way, if you ever talk to coaches after games, talk to the winning coach, because the losing coach, not always the best situation.
No, I've been on that end of the mic sometimes, and it's. I've always loved the guys talking to me, so I've always been cool, but yeah, it's hard to find some words sometimes. So
well, some of my favorite conversations are actually with the losing coach, that things kind of got a little bit, things didn't go their way somehow in there.
Yeah.
And you cut off the recording and they can just let loose on how they really feel. Those are some of my favorite conversations.
Yeah. So, well, hey, I appreciate you being on. Like I said, I hope this thing kind of keeps rolling on my side of it. And then I'll get to have you on as we go and as we get sports back and talk to you. I would love to keep having you on as we go and hear about some of these small colleges and just hear about sports.
Hey, anytime. And thank you so much for having me. I could talk sports all day. I love these small colleges. I could talk to these guys all the time. The players, the coaches, the fans, they're all awesome. They are. And if you see me out and about, say hi. That's always fun too. Yeah. So definitely, anybody who sees me out, and go on the website and newsletter. Sign up for that newsletter. And the big thing about that newsletter on the website is everything that I post in a day gets sent to your email the next morning for free.
Okay, cool. So I will make sure we do it. We'll get them all tagged and all that. So I hope we get you some followers, even some more looks. But that's our third quarter with Cory Hogue, and he is the creator writer of LoneStarSportsDaily.com. Check it out. Like I said, he is the busiest guy in sports I have found out over the past 6 weeks. It's awesome stuff. So thank you, Cory, and we will see you again.
Thank you.
All right, that's Coach's Call with Dustin Holly, the third quarter. We'll be back for an awesome fourth quarter. See you soon.